is an exclusive presentation of high school sports on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. This is the High School Coaches Show. Here's your host, Justin Kenny.
Welcome in, everyone, to the High School Coaches Show on a beautiful Thursday in February. Right in the midst of high school basketball, girls state championships coming up tomorrow night and Saturday down at Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Now, no area representative this year at the state championships in girls basketball. And then next week we kick off the boys basketball playoffs as sectional play begins throughout the entire state of Indiana. And we'll talk all about it over the next hour here. Welcome in some coaches over the next 60 minutes or so. Coach Matt Kostoff, Bishop Dwenger here in just a couple of seconds. He'll be followed by John Bodey, Central Noble. We'll talk Cougar basketball. Central Noble 22-1. So much discussion about Homestead and just everything they've done this year. As impressive has been Central Noble up in the northern part of our area and what they've done in the NECC and how things are setting up for them in the postseason. We'll talk to Coach Bodey about that. Bottom of the hour, everybody's favorite Vance, Brice will join us. We'll talk a little more about the sectional draw coming up. We had last Sunday and, of course, the action beginning next week. And we'll wrap it up with Coach Gary Andrews of the Northside Legends, fresh off a big win for them on Tuesday at home against Cherubusco. We'll talk about that one and also look ahead to next week for the North, and also an added game that they picked up at Lewis Cass tomorrow evening, a quick replacement that Lewis Cass had a game against Lafayette Central Catholic post canceled, so Northside was able to find a final game knowing that they will not play until next Friday. Coach Andrews wanted to add another game for his young group. So let's get it started. And one of the hotter teams in the area over the last couple of weeks has been Bishop Dwenger. It seems to be their MO a lot towards the end of the year under head coach Matt Kostoff, once again playing some of their best basketball of the year. Coach Kostoff joins us right now. Coach, how are you?
Doing great, Justin. How you doing?
Living the dream over here, Coach. Congratulations, 4-game winning streak and some impressive wins to boot, Leo and New Haven namely. So take us through, the course of the season and where you're at now, sitting at 11-9 here on the eve of postseason play.
Well, I'm sure every coach in the area could tell you, Justin, it's been crazy. The season has just been absolutely crazy with everything that's going on. We were talking the other day, our season's kind of been divided in 3 segments. When we started, and as you know, we always start a little bit late with our football team's success. So we had 6 games in 11 days, finished up before Christmas with a shootout over at Carroll, come back the next week, practice a couple days. We had a bunch of guys sick. One tested positive, so we were on quarantine for a couple weeks. So then we go, I think, 6 games. No, we go 7 games in 17 days. Then, then we have another week off. That Thursday night snowstorm that came out of nowhere. Yeah. We got canceled there. And then Lawrence Central, Al was supposed to come up, and they had some COVID issues in their transportation department, so we had another week off. And then we just ended with 7 games in 13 days. So it's been draining, to say the least. But you know what? I am not complaining. We got the games in, and it is what it is. Everybody's going through it.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at that stretch in January, when you guys missed a couple weeks, it was a difficult stretch. You could have desperately needed those practices for sure, because playing the likes of Carroll, Blackhawk, South, Snyder, you get into February with Northside and Blackford. I mean, those are tough teams to play, and, every practice matters, especially when you get a late start due to football, and, it affected you, even more with COVID.
Yeah, and then, like I said, everybody's had their issues this year. But you're right. Every practice counts. Now we're kind of lucky. We got the bye for the first time in probably 10 years, and we have a good week or so that we can really fine tune some stuff and work on a lot of fundamentals that we haven't had time to, and things like that. So, yeah, it's been quite the experience.
Let's talk about your group a little bit. I know having Brendan Lytle in his 8th year with Bishop Dwenger has been a big help. I think C.J. Piper maybe is a kid that doesn't get as much attention. But let's break this roster down for you guys and really, the strengths of your team.
You're right. B's a 4-year starter for us. He's the leader. He's the pulse of the team. The guys follow his lead. He's grown both as a young man and as a player. Very competitive, as you know. It doesn't take much to get him going during a game, but I'll take 5 of him all day. Xavier Nolan, and we got 4 starters back from last year. As you know, Xavier Nolan just missed for consistency for us. One of our other guards. You mentioned CJ, who has just played great all through the year. Has had some big games offensively. Not the greatest, not our top scorer, but he's there. He can put up. 15 on any given night. Against Leo last week, he's 10 for 10 from the foul line. Okay, and hit some big shots for us. And then got Owen Shively back. Then we got Xavier Allen, Colin O'Shaughnessy. We do have a lot of bigs. That's nice that we're able to rotate. Besides Owen, we got Rocco Sioka, Preston Ross, Joe Kelly, Bo Jackway. So we do have some depth. Sometimes it's almost maybe too much depth, but you just got to go. And we've told the guys all year, and we did. We kept a couple extra guys this year just because of COVID. And we told the guys at the start, hey, everybody's not going to play every game. Obviously, you gotta be ready when your time has come. Great example of that was last Saturday against New Haven. Joe Kelly didn't play at all Friday night against Northrop, but comes in and has 10 points against New Haven last Saturday night. So I think the guys are buying in. So it's a good group, an unselfish group. I think we're finally starting to find our identity a little bit, Justin. It was kind of tough at the beginning of the year, and again with all the breaks, but hopefully we're hitting our stride a little bit.
Yeah, and you mentioned Piper being that Mr. Intangible type guy. He strikes me as kind of like a Sam Royal type player, a Campbell Donovan type player, a kid that isn't getting a lot of attention around the city, but also when you look at his body of work, it's pretty impressive. He's doing a lot of things that don't necessarily show up in a box score, and I think there's quite a few guys that you guys have that are similar to that maybe aren't flashy, that aren't going to wow, but at the end of the night, they're doing the things you need them to do to earn victories.
Absolutely. Now, Pipe is not the shooter, anywhere near the shooter that Sam or Campbell were, but he does. He draws whoever the leading scorer is on the other team. That's who he guards.
Yeah.
Started in game 1 with Luke Goody and Burke and just down the line. He guards the other team's leading scorer and does a great job. And you mentioned that with other guys. I forgot to mention a young man that's really played well for us, Sam Campbell, a sophomore. Coming off the bench for us. With our stats, we keep like a plus minus, and Sam's got the best plus minus on the whole team. He comes in, he's a good ball handler, he's aggressive, great vision, plays aggressive. So you're right. It's just we got a lot of guys. We talked last week. Butler had a saying last year or 2 years ago, gritty, not pretty. And we've kind of adopted that. That's kind of what we are. We're not the most aesthetically pleasing team to watch play sometimes. But, we want to get after it and play hard. That's what we've just talked about the last month, to enjoy every game and just compete your butts off for 32 minutes.
I think what maybe the most impressive thing that's been out of you guys over the last, week, because you guys have played so much over the last couple of weeks, is you're beating teams, but you're also, beating good teams, making plays late. And that may not have been, may have had a couple games slip away earlier in the season at Marion that was close. South Bend Adams over to Carroll. A couple other ones, even, a Snyder, Northside. Some of those games that you let get away that, you hold Leo off. You get that close win. New Haven. Even Belmont, a 14-win Belmont team going there and getting a win that was in the 30s. And you said, gritty, not pretty. It's a win is a win is a win. And you guys are showing that you guys can make the plays down the stretch to hold off some better teams.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think they're getting confidence, in those situations. You're exactly right. The Belmont game, I think, and they play very hard, and that was just, I think, an example of two teams that have played 4 games in 6 days. It was just, both teams are kind of on their last breaths there. But you're right. It was nice. We got out to a big start against Leo. We knew they would make a run because they are very, very, very good, and they did. But we hit our free throws, 19 out of 21 from the free throw line. the Northrop game Friday was probably the second craziest game I've ever been involved in as long as I've been coaching. But, that game we're 14 out of 28 from the foul line, 4 for 21 from threes, 20 turnovers, and we still found a way to win. So, yeah, it is good to be in those situations because that's what the sectional games are going to be like.
Yeah. Going back, as you mentioned, that Northrop game, caught the end of it on social media. I've never seen that work where you intentionally miss and get the rebound and score. So take us through that craziness there in the final seconds.
Well, I got to give all the credit to CJ, and I'm going to be honest, we have not practiced that yet. And I'm thinking to myself after the game, why haven't we done this? And then I was watching the Celtic game on Sunday, and Jason Tatum missed the rim. So I told Pipe, hey, get a hold of Jason Tatum, show him how to do it. But anyway, CJ set it up at the start by he got fouled right inside the half court line, and he was smart enough to get in a shooting motion. So he got 3, and he kept looking over at us, and it's like, just make these 2, make the first 2, and then we put Preston and Rocco in, and we just told them. Just kind of cross inside and try to tip it out. We had Brendan and Xavier Nolan coming in from the outside, and Justin, that's going to happen 1 out of 100 times. CJ did a great job. Rocco and Preston pinched. Rocco got a hand on it, kind of tipped it back, and Pipe kind of came right down the lane and laid it in at the buzzer. So, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, second craziest game I've ever been involved in. So, nuts.
Now, of course, you got to tell us what the craziest game you've ever been involved in is.
Okay, so this is 2008. We're playing Lures here. And they got Deshaun, Lawrence Barnett, Troy Amos, Evan Blackman. I think they ended up winning state that year.
Yeah.
So we are down 16, and one of those games, and I remember it like yesterday because you always remember the losses more than you do the wins. We're down 16 going into the last quarter, so a timeout between quarters. I'm like, okay, guys, let's get it down. If we can get it down to 10 with 4 minutes, anybody's game. So, of course, great coaching on my part. They come out, they score the first two buckets, so we're down 20 with about 5.5 minutes to go. We go on a 34-10 run. Okay, so we're up. It's just crazy. We had Joey Kasarik, Jamarcus Willis, Tyler Eifert, Isaac Campbell. We're playing crazy, and you just didn't miss for 5 minutes. So we're up 4. We're up 4 with about 30 seconds to go, maybe less than 30 seconds to go. Deshaun hits a fadeaway 3 from the corner, and we actually fouled him. It probably should have been a 4-point play. So we're up 1. They foul us. We miss a 1-and-1. There's probably about 4 seconds left. Nothing against the referees here when I say this, but probably one of the worst calls ever. They called a touch foul on Jamarcus, who's one of our assistant coaches now, at half court with like 0.3 seconds to go. So they're shooting free throws. We're down 1, or we're up 1. Young man misses the first one. We call timeout, put another big in there. Second one, same way, just a crazy bounce. Justin, he missed it. It hit the back of the rim, front of the rim. And by that time, Deshaun had kind of pushed one of our guys underneath, tips it in at the buzzer, and we lose by 1. Oof. So, I mean, just crazy.
Chaos. And you had a really good team that year. I want to say you felled a Harding in a really good game in sectional.
Harding in an overtime game, and they ended up going to state that year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, we did. We'd had a great team. It was, yeah.
Very nice. All right, Coach, looking ahead, you guys get a bit of a break, as you said, probably much needed to get some practices and consistency. So heading into next week, you get the bye, and, every coach is different. Every situation is different. Some want to play, some don't want to play. But how are you going to approach this break for you guys preparing for either Concordia or Woodland for next week?
Well, we're just going to take the approach where we're just going to focus on us until Tuesday, until after the game on Tuesday. And just fine-tune some things that we need to do, maybe add a few things, and just worry about us. Then after the Tuesday game, obviously then we see who we're going to get. Both teams are very dangerous. Concordia played us really tough early in the year. Coach Brockman's got some good young kids. They got some length. They shoot the crap out of the basketball. Woodland's had a good year. They got Joe Reedy, who we know about real well. Great player. So we'll just see how that goes, and then we just take it day by day after that.
All right, buddy. Hey, appreciate the time. Thanks a lot. Congratulations on a really good finish to the season, and I'm sure you want to keep it going next week.
Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
That was Matt Kostoff, head coach of the Bishop Dwenger Saints. His team 11-9 to end the regular season, capped it off at Belmont on Tuesday with a 38-32 victory. It's the fourth straight win for Bishop Dwenger. Leo, Northrop, New Haven, and Belmont, the victories. 3 of those 4 teams have double-digit wins on the season, including Leo, a team that also gets a bye in the very same sectional that Bishop Dwenger is in at Woodland, sectional 22. Could we potentially see a rematch between those two teams, Saints and Lions, next Saturday night? We'll see. The Woodland sectional get kicked off next Tuesday, Concordia and Woodland. Once again, the winner of that one will play Bishop Dwenger in the first game at 6 o'clock on Friday. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk Central Noble Cougar basketball with head coach John Bodey. We'll also riddle him with IU basketball questions to get his blood pressure up. You're listening to the High School Coaches Show here on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
The Sports Rush with Brett Rump.
Who would be an IU fan's dream candidate to replace him?
Well, of course, it's Brad Stevens.
But after Brad Stevens, I don't know if there's another name. I mean, last time at least we had 3 or 4 people we could kind of debate and weigh against each other. And
hire the chair toss. Hire the chair. That's the new head coach.
The sad thing is the chair would make the NCAA tournament.
Sports Rush with Brett Rump. Listen every weekday at 4 on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan at 100.9 FM.
Is the cost of finishing the basement worth the benefit of some peace and quiet? When questions find you, Merrill Edge Self-Directed Investing can help you find answers with personalized planning tools and insights to help you get where you want to go, even if it's just downstairs. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/withinreach to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated. Registered broker-dealer, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
You ever lie awake at night, can't sleep, not wanting to see what time it is because that's just going to keep you up? Tonight, try ZzzQuil Pure Z's all night. Unlike other sleep aids, our extended-release melatonin helps you fall asleep naturally and then slowly releases so you stay asleep longer through the night. It's non-habit forming with no next-day grogginess. ZzzQuil Pure Z's all night, so you can fall asleep and stay asleep. Available at retailers near you.
Here is Greg Thomas with your latest Mortgage Minute, where you can gain an edge on your next mortgage.
Greg Thomas here from Cross Country Mortgage. I want to talk about what it means to be a competitive buyer. Sales are happening, so is winning these bids. And cash is king once again. Not cash deals per se, there's still people getting financed for these homes, but folks that have their money right are winning. We find ourselves reminding people that money in the bank, money available to buy a home is part of the pre-approval. You have to have money. You have to have money left over. We call those reserves, money that you have in the bank that we're not going to use. The people that can make their own down payment, pay their own closing costs, and have some money left over are the folks that are winning deals right now. There, of course, are exceptions to this. Please give us a call for more information.
Contact Greg anytime for your purchase and financing needs at 260-234-4700 or at ccmindiana.com. Work with a lender you can trust to get your deal done. Cross Country Mortgage, LLC, NMLS 3029. Greg Thomas, NMLS 138839. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community, and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers trained to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Indiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Indiana Broadcasters Association and this station.
Now back to the High School Coaches Show on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back to the High School Coaches Show here on a Thursday evening. I'm Justin Kenny. He is John Graham. We're here till 7 o'clock talking area high school basketball. No girls basketball representatives down at the state championship this year for the second straight season. There are no girls basketball representatives from the area. Went a step further, though, this year. Had a couple teams at semi-state. Last year, we did not even have a team in semi-state. So girls basketball state finals happening tomorrow night. 1 game tomorrow evening, 3 on Saturday. And we kick it off on next week with the boys sectional as the tournament gets started. We talked to Coach Matt Kostoff before the break, but Bishop Dwenger about his team's hot finish to the season. A team that hasn't been, other than maybe Homestead, no team has been hotter in the area than Central Noble. They were 2-1, lost to Westview, and then has since won 20 straight games. They have Fairfield coming up tomorrow night at home to cap the regular season. Let's talk some Cougar basketball with head coach John Bodey. Joins us right now. Coach, how are you?
I'm good, Justin. How are you?
Not bad, and I felt like maybe I would just blindside you with a bunch of IU basketball questions, but I don't know if either of us can really handle that right now.
Well, I've been an IU fan all my life. It's kind of a struggle right now, but yeah, it's been a rough year.
It's been rough, but at least you've had quality basketball to watch from the sidelines instead of on television with Central Noble. You guys 22-1. Once again, you'll end the season tomorrow night with a league game against Fairfield. Just playing tremendous basketball, and I saw you guys at the NECC tournament, and all smiles there. So take us through this course of the season and what you guys have accomplished, because I think outside of the city limits here, they talk so much about Homestead and Blackhawk Christian, but there's a team up north of Central Noble that's having a heck of a year.
Yeah, I feel like we've had a really good year. The kids have bought into what we're doing. A lot of good players, a lot of guys that have accepted their roles, and with tomorrow night's game against Fairfield, it turned into a pretty important game. We thought we were going to be playing for second place, and with the Fremont upset of Westview Tuesday night, our boys get to play for a conference, regular season conference championship tomorrow night. So it turned into a rather important game.
Absolutely. I think that caught a lot of people by surprise earlier this week with Fremont knocking off Westview. And I guess you can at least, use that to guard against complacency. Not saying that Westview was complacent in that one, but anything can happen. Fairfield, not the best record, but, anything can happen. You don't want to look past them.
Yeah, we did a lot of talking about Fairfield tonight at practice, and they're as I watched video of them the last 2 days, they are better than a 2-win team, and we talked a lot about that tonight with our kids, and I do feel like we've matured a lot over the last 2 years, and our kids are pretty good at not taking anybody lightly, and our kids won't look at the record. They know it's an important game. It's one of our goals. We had a goal to win the conference tournament, which we did. We had a goal to win the regular season, and now that has presented itself to us. So our kids know they have some business to take care of tomorrow night, and I don't think I really think they'll be ready for it.
All right, Coach, it starts with Connor Esesian at Central Noble, and, a scoring machine. And I feel when we talk in this area about the best shooters around, we talk Luke Goody, we talk Fletcher Lawyer. I don't think people talk enough about Connor Esesian and what he's accomplished. And, people forget still just, how young the kid is.
Yeah, he is, in my opinion, one of the best shooters in the state. And he does it in a lot of different ways. He can catch and shoot off a kick from a teammate. He shoots it well coming off screens. He can create his own shot. He's just gotten better offensively in so many different ways and can score in so many different ways. But he is an overlooked shooter, and again, I think I'm probably biased, but one of the best shooters in the state.
And a well-rounded player. I mean, he's not just a shooter, but at 6'4", he can be physical when he needs to, and he's still growing into that frame. I feel like next year he'll be even stronger. So not a one-trick pony by any means.
No, he rebounds for us against. I want to think it was a Southside game. He had 8 assists. He does a lot of different things for us, and he's really good on the ball defensively. He's an all-around player, and he just keeps getting better.
You got some complimentary guys around Connor for sure. One of them that's very impressive to me, Sawyer Yoder, a kid who wants to be a brain surgeon when he grows up. Most teenagers that I know, I'd be a little wary of them becoming brain surgeons, but I feel pretty confident if Sawyer Yoder would be my brain surgeon, and he sometimes plays like one on the court in terms of his abilities to be so pinpoint in what he does, and I feel like he's another kid in this area that doesn't get enough attention.
Yeah, I love Sawyer, but I'm not letting him work on my brain. I have enough issues. But Sawyer is one of those guys that he's a freak athlete, jumps real well, runs real well, and then the weird combination that we don't get much at Central Noble of the athlete that can shoot the ball. You know, he shoots about 40% from three, but that's a combination we don't see a whole lot of.
And I think a kid that every team needs this, that scrappy kid that doesn't show up in the box score a lot, but does so much for you is Ryan Schroeder, I think, to me. And watching you guys in the NECC tournament, he was a kid that stood out, does a little bit of everything, affects the game in a variety of different ways. He can pass. He can really find Connor and Sawyer in good positions. So those are the type of guys that I think truly make this team so well-rounded.
Yeah, we have Ryan that does that, Jack Andrews does that, Connor Lemon, Logan Guard. We have several guys that are just really good role players. Now, as role players, they can score, but they do a lot of the dirty work that doesn't get noticed or mentioned very often. But yeah, Ryan is probably our best defender, one of our best passers. He's one of our leaders in assists, and he just plays with a very high basketball IQ. Just works his tail off in games for us. You know, he's a leader in practice. Just works his tail off.
Coach John Bodey, Central Noble Cougars, joining us here on the High School and Coaches Show, and I feel like there's a lot to focus on over the next week or so for you guys. Can try to clinch a share of the NECC championship tomorrow evening against Fairfield, and then Westview round 3 there is lurking early next week. I know you're not focused on that yet because of the implications tomorrow, but when you look at this sectional in particular, and almost all the heavyweights from the NECC are in it, Cherubusco, you guys, Westview, Eastside. I mean, that's going to be a lot of fun next week.
Yeah, this sectional, since I've been at Central Noble, has been one of the toughest ones in the state. This would be the fifth year for me in this sectional, and every year it's a tough one. And my first year at Central Noble, when we won it, we were probably the fifth best team, and had to go through Whitco, had to go through Westview, and had to go through LaVille to win it. And on paper, all three of those teams were better than us. So it's every year it's a tough one, and this year's no different. It's probably, if not the toughest 2A sectional in the state, it's the second one behind the Indy sectional. But I'm biased again. I think it's probably the toughest one in the state.
Coach, when you look at Central Noble's success, we had a couple years there with the girls team get to state, and now the boys team having success. Last couple years, it's been a lot of fun in Albion in the wintertime the last 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah, we have a good following. Take out COVID, we have a lot of people in the community that really support us, want to come see us play. I just wish COVID wasn't happening so more people could get out, and we're expecting, I think, to be allowed to be at 50% capacity tomorrow. So I believe we'll see a few more people that we haven't seen, and I think our girls and our boys have really turned the community on to Central Noble basketball.
Coach, you have a big one tomorrow night, and then, of course, the sectional next week, and 20 straight victories for this team. And when you look at who they face, and they've avenged that Westview loss in the NECC tournament. You've beaten Cherubusco twice. You've beaten Eastside by 20. So when you go into next week as competitive as it can be, but also with so many wins against those foes, how do you prevent complacency? How do you keep this team focused, knowing that they are going to have some tests, but tests against teams they've already beaten, and maybe potentially taking them for granted?
I mentioned this earlier, but one of our keys every game is maturity, and we've done a good job since I've been at Central Noble of just taking it one game at a time, and our kids really, I trust them to the point where I know they will not take anybody lightly. They know that this year we've gotten everybody's best shot. Connor gets everybody's best shot defensively every game. So we're kind of used to being marked right now, and our kids have developed that maturity where I'm very confident we will not take anybody lightly.
Coach, before I let you go, I had a final question from you. From an unnamed person, told me to ask John Bodey if he likes having the Fort Wayne All-Stars refs at his games.
I love the Fort Wayne All-Stars. They always have the best hair. They have a great defense. So, yeah.
Coach, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot for coming on 2-1. Let's wrap up at least a share of the conference title tomorrow, and then what should be a fun Westview sectional next week. So we look forward to it.
We're going to give it a try. Thank you, Justin.
All right, buddy. That was John Bodey, head coach of the Central Noble Cougars. His team 22-1, ranked number 3 in Class 2A in the state of Indiana. So much attention in Class 2A on Blackhawk Christian for good reason. At number 1, Shenandoah number 2. And then, Central Noble sitting there at 22-1. And before you gloss over Central Noble's 22-1, trying to say, okay, they're not playing the quality of foes that a team like Blackhawk is, yes, would agree, at least statewide, that Central Noble's not playing those teams. But anybody who has watched NECC basketball, particularly the last couple years, that is a very deep, a very talented conference that I would say is much deeper than any other conference in the area in terms of quality opponents and teams that are very tough to beat and prepare for. So that's a legit 22-1. I'm not sure entering the regional if Central Noble can match up with a Blackhawk Christian, but when you have a Connor Esesian that can shoot out of the gym, a beefy player in Sawyer Yoder, and a lot of complimentary guys, anything is possible. So the focus for Central Noble, of course, is to wrap up that conference title and win a sectional next week, but do not overlook the Cougars and give them respect at 22-1, ranked number 3 in Class 2A. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with Brice Vance from KPC Media Group. We'll break down many of these sectionals coming up next week. We'll also have Gary Andrews, head coach of the Northside Legends, a little later. This is the High School Coaches Show here on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
The superstars of the NASCAR Cup Series.
Guess what? New player. Here comes Chase Elliott.
Converge on the southern tip of Florida for an epic battle.
They are side by side
on the super fast Homestead Miami Speedway.
Checkered flag in the air. Denny Hamlin wins the Dixie Vodka 400.
It's the Dixie Vodka 400. On Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan at 100.9 FM.
With so many roofing companies in the area, it's tough to be sure you're partnering with the right business to get the job done. Alliance Exteriors is here to make that decision easier for you. Alliance Exteriors specializes in metal roofing, shingle roofing, and more. They promise to take care of you for life. From the time a team member arrives at your door to years after your job is completed with a lifetime warranty. Did you know booking your roofing project with Alliance Exteriors in winter will save you thousands and guarantees that your home will be at the front of the line come springtime? Call Alliance Exteriors today, 908-5465. Check out their Facebook or visit their website at allianceexteriorsIN.com to schedule your free, no-pressure estimate. All estimates come with an exclusive 10-point inspection, a $129 value for free. Book now to save thousands off the last roof you will ever put on your home. Don't forget to ask about their first responder discount. Start the process with Alliance Exteriors, your partners for life. So, you haven't made it to Blademan's Knife Shop at the shops of Scott Road yet, huh? That's okay. There's been a lot going on lately, but now's the time. It is the area's premier knife shop, carrying the best brands and knives like Microtech, Spyderco, Hogue, Medford, Emerson Knives, Zero Tolerance, and ProTech. You probably already knew that, but have you heard of some of the reviews coming out of Blademan's? People are saying Blademan's offers excellent service and a great selection, and that Mark is inviting and knowledgeable. Here's a cool piece of feedback from one customer who says, quote, couldn't recommend Blademan's highly enough. And another one says they'll be, quote, buying all their knives from Blademan's from now on. Join the list of growing customers that insist that the first time they shopped with Blademan's certainly will not be the last. Knives, tactical gear, apparel. The reviews, they're in. People are glad they found Blademan's Knife Shop. Now it's your turn. See you at Blademan's.
It doesn't take a brain surgeon to know ticks suck. But what you might not know is that they don't just suck blood way out in the woods. Those creepy little bugs can be anywhere, all year long. And I do mean little. They can be smaller than the head of a pin. But big trouble comes in these small, gross packages. Even a tiny tick can make you super sick. So what's the most important tip to avoid getting bit? Well, duh, pay attention. Remember, ticks can be just about anywhere outdoors. Then, spray attention with an EPA-registered insect repellent. Wearing long socks and other protective clothing is a good idea, too. When you come back inside, shower. And always remember, check for ticks everywhere. And if you do get a tick bite, don't panic. Tell an adult. And visit ticksuck.org to learn how to remove it properly. Ticks suck, but being outdoors shouldn't. Go to ticksuck.org for more information. Ticksuck.org.
Here's more from the High School Coaches Show on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan at 100.9 FM.
Welcome back to the High School Coaches Show, fresh off my favorite PSA here on 1380 The Fan. I'm Justin Kenny. He is John Graham. Producing, we're here till 7 o'clock, where we will give way to Fox Sports Radio. Coming up at 7:45 this evening, pregame show for the Horizon League tournament. The first ever tournament game for the PFW Mastodons in the Horizon League. They're the number 10 seed. They'll take on number 7 Cleveland State this evening. The pregame show with Brett Rump and Art Salzberg will start at 7:45. Tip at 8 o'clock as the Mastodons try to survive and advance in the Horizon League tournament in their first ever appearance in the postseason tournament with the Horizon. So we'll see how the Mastodons do tonight. Again, 7:45, the coverage, 8 o'clock, the tip. Coming up tomorrow, it'll be Purdue and Penn State right here on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM at 6 o'clock. A stream only. You can catch Eastside and Cherubusco boys basketball. The Cherubusco Eagles will look to avenge or get back on track after a loss at Northside on Tuesday. A guy that knows a lot about NECC basketball, or at least he fakes it, is Mr. Brice Vance, who joins us right now. Brice, how are you?
I'm good, and what I've been told my entire life is just fake it until you make it.
Exactly. I mean, I hear you. Same thing. I mean, 38 years. People are convinced I know something. I don't. I don't know a darn thing.
Us media types, we get painted as, smart people when, we're not that intelligent. I mean, we got into the media business.
Yeah, right. Not very lucrative. Right?
No, not at all.
But
not at all.
If anything, we've been taught to just be confident, right? I mean, that goes to any line of work, but particularly when you're in the public eye and you're writing or you're talking, just be confident.
Oh yeah,
you can fool a lot of people.
You could have no idea what you're saying and just act like you know what you're saying, and people will believe you.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think in our landscape now, I think it's easily sellable. Just be positive, be confident, and people will buy into you. So, two guys that have a lot of people fooled here, talking right now with Brice Vance, and I'm Justin Kenny. Brice, before we break down some sectional basketball, let's look at this Northeast Corner Conference. We thought it was all wrapped up. For Westview, they go out and fall to Fremont and leave the door open for Central Noble. So a big game all of a sudden for the Cougars coming up tomorrow night.
Yeah, for sure. I know I was there up in Emma on Tuesday when Fremont won against Westview, and Fremont was kind of relishing in the role of playing spoiler. And I think for Central Noble going into Friday night's game against Fairfield, I don't know that Fairfield has the same kind of firepower Fremont has, so I think Central Noble should be able to clinch a share of the NECC relatively easily, as long as they come out and play the style of basketball that they've been playing all season long, because Westview has kind of been up and down here in the latter stage of the season. And I know you just had Coach John Bodey on, and I talked to him after the Lakeland game last Saturday. It was in the middle of their stretch of playing 4 games in 4 days, and they got off to a slow start and allowed Lakeland to get back into the game a little bit, and then Central Noble just put their foot on the gas. And that's what he was kind of saying to his guys after the game. Like, they still had a chance at the time to clinch a share of the NECC regular season title. They're playing for a championship every single night they take on an NECC foe, because what could have happened on Tuesday actually did happen. And now they're hoping to finally claim a regular season conference title.
And I know a lot of people were shocked at Fremont winning, but they're 9-11, and you look at they gave Central Noble a game last week, and they only lost by 1 to New Haven late in December. They only lost by 1, I think, to Eastside in late January. So this is a team that has some solid wins and some close losses against quality opponents.
Yeah, and a lot of those players that are on this team right now are juniors and sophomores. So this team could be, and I don't want to get too ahead and talk about next year, but what Josh Stuckey, a Fremont graduate, now the head coach, has done in year one is kind of laid the groundwork for this program and kind of revitalizing it into what it was when Stuckey was there and competing at the top of the NECC every single year, because now they're starting to nip at the heels at the likes of Central Noble and a Westview and a Busco, and they're starting to finally, turn that corner that they've been waiting for all season long.
Brice Vance, KPC Media Group, joining us here on the High School Coaches Show. All right, Brice, let's look at some of these sectionals coming up next week, and we'll start in Class 4A at East Noble. And I know a lot of people want to pencil Carroll in as a champion here, but when you break it down, Northrop can wear you down, and I feel like Carroll wins that one. But then they will play Northside, a team that will wait to play them on Friday, and that's a team in North that was up 8 in the fourth quarter against Carroll before letting it slip away. And let's say Carroll wins that one, they'll likely potentially get Snyder if Snyder can knock off DeKalb and East Noble. That's a Snyder team that led Carroll by 14 in the first half and let that game get away. So by no means can we write in Carroll as a sectional champion here.
No, I don't think we can. I think we may have said that same thing on the girls' side a few weeks ago. That they maybe before the season started, you could maybe you were thinking pencil in Carroll for winning that sectional, because Snyder had graduated some pieces, lost some pieces from the program. Northside was going to be young again. Northrop graduated a lot, and East Noble or DeKalb are still trying to find their way as programs currently, and now that the season has run its course and we're coming down to the final stretches, it's not so clear as water as we thought it was with Carroll and winning that sectional championship, because those freshmen that have been playing for Northside and those inexperienced players that were playing for Snyder are starting to mature and win in big games and compete with the likes of Carroll's, and these programs are going outside of the SAC and taking on some teams down around the Indy area and competing with those, and that's just making these teams better and more prepared where they can battle hopefully next week and get some good games up at East Noble.
Brice, when we look at 3A at Woodland, I think this is a intriguing sectional, especially after Leo went out and lost to Bishop Dwenger last week. Bishop Dwenger gets the bye. They'll play the winner of Concordia and Woodland. Angola in there that maybe could be a sneaky threat to Leo, depending on if they're looking ahead. And I think Woodland and Concordia is a good matchup too. So when we break down this Woodland sectional that maybe this time a couple weeks ago didn't look very exciting, now maybe has the door open for a challenge to the Lions.
Yeah, I definitely think so, especially with the team that you mentioned first off in Bishop Dwenger and what they have. They're just a solid team led by Brendan Lytle, who's one of the most confident kids I know, is very not afraid to talk to you after he makes a bucket. He is very solid player as well to back up that talk. But Woodland has a Joe Reedy type who can put up 20 points without even blinking an eye. For Angola's case, I don't know if they're able to get up for this game, just because of here recently they've just kind of been stuck in the sand or stuck in the mud and have lost some games by pretty big deficits to West Noble and East Noble their last two times out after picking up a really good win over Eastside late last week. So. For me, I think Leo, their depth is going to just be able to overcome any tight game that might happen in this sectional this time around, especially if they were to face a Bishop Dwenger again. I just think their depth and how many weapons they have is just going to be maybe a little too much this time around.
Brice, the big one in Class 2A is at Westview, and you're familiar with a lot of these teams, and we feel like Central Noble's the decided favorite in there, but I know Cherubusco wants a third shot at the Cougars. I think maybe an overlooked team in here, East side, but also Bremen, because we don't really know a lot about Bremen. Everybody else in this sectional just beat up each other in the NECC, and then you throw Bremen in the conversation. So when you look at this field right now, and I think we could agree that Central Noble's the favorite here, but in terms of the biggest challenger, is it Cherubusco?
I think so, just because of what I've seen here in the last couple of weeks with Westview. After Druittweiler left program, and they would be able to, be able to over that, and some of these other guys would step up into new roles, and they showed flashes, but I just don't know if they're able to put it together for 32 minutes and compete with the likes of Cherubusco or Central Noble that can put up so many points on you in a hurry. And Westview, I don't know if their offense is capable enough to score at will and score when they need a bucket most desperately against a higher quality team in Central Noble or Cherubusco. Busco, I think, with the way that they have been playing here recently and competing against the likes of a North Side and just going back to their ways before, they lost a couple games in the NEC. They lost Central Noble in the NECC tournament when they were just putting up 100 points on teams. I'm waiting for them to do that against a really high caliber team, and I don't know if they can do it because facing Central Noble potentially in the semifinal, I think that'll be a difficult task because they've had their number the first two times they faced off.
Yeah, Bremen's only game against a sectional foe was Central Noble in late December. That was a 9-point game. So, again, don't overlook Bremen in this one because they could be that surprise team, not to necessarily win it, but maybe knock off a team that we thought maybe would be in the conversation later in the week.
Yeah, I for sure. I think they're on the side of the bracket with East Side, and they could definitely knock them off because East Side has shown that they're vulnerable. Even though they have a trio of solid players that are leading them, but they've definitely shown that they're capable, that they could have an off night. And if Bremen is up for the challenge, like they were against Central Noble in the game that they were playing close to them, then they could definitely knock off an East Side type and have a pretty much easier path to a sectional championship.
What about that 3A section at Lebanon? What can you tell me about that one, Brice?
Well, Lebanon, I think what they've been able to do here recently, I know you're joking. I have no idea about Lebanon. I think their mascot's the Tigers. I think that's all.
Really? That's more than I could tell you about Lebanon. So I just randomly picked one because we talked about, okay, which ones are you comfortable talking about? So I just kind of wanted to pick one out. I would say Garin Catholic is the favorite there at 17-3, but what do I know?
I mean, they have a pretty darn good record.
Yeah.
And the teams that they have faced, they're just quality wins over and over again. And here recently, they've just been putting it all together. Do you want me to throw any more cliches in there that I can try to muster up?
See, this goes back to the start of the conversation. You were confident in that analysis. You don't know a darn thing about Garin Catholic, nor do I. But people that are tuning in go, Brice knows what he's talking about. Okay, he sounds like, knows what he's talking about. So, confidence. That's all you need is confidence.
Yeah, and who knows? Might have less than 15 minutes of everybody's time, including yours and mine right now.
Whatever. Oh, we do it for 60 minutes every Thursday here from 6 to 7, so whatever. All right, Brice, hey, appreciate it, man. Always a pleasure. We'll catch up to you next week in the thick of sectional week.
Alrighty, sounds good, buddy.
All right, bud. That was Brice Vance, KPC Media Group, joining us here on the High School Coaches Show, as he does each and every Thursday. We're going to take a break, come back. Coach Gary Andrews, Northside Legends, will help us wrap up the show here on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
The Sports Rush with Brett Rump.
Kid Sterling down in Indianapolis, long-time radio voice. Carson Wentz, did the Colts pick the right guy?
I'm going to say yes. What they got is a guy who, with Frank Reich, was one of the best three players in the NFL back in 2017. And if somehow the relationship was responsible in large part, then this is going to look really good a year from now.
The Sports Rush with Brett Rump. Listen every weekday at 4 on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
You're planning on remodeling your bathroom. You want something personal and unique, and you want only the best quality products, which is why you're planning on ordering your shower door from the custom craftsmen of City Glass. But why stop there? Why not have the same professionals custom cut the just right mirror for your bathroom as well? There's no need to settle for anything off the shelf when the City Glass craftsmen can cut and design the perfect mirror for your bathroom. Don't worry about special sizing. They can custom custom size your mirror just as they would your shower door. And what about a unique look? Not a problem. For example, they can frame your mirror or even cut it so that your vanity lights can fit in the mirror rather than having to mount a separate fixture above the mirror. Maybe you don't need a new mirror at all and can just have an existing one recut or refurbished. Yeah, they can do that too. So do this for yourself. When you're ready to choose a shower door from City Glass, choose a mirror as well. City Glass, quality glass products, a cut above the rest.
The first show of 2021 is here. The all-new All-American Outdoor Expo is a go. This is your chance to save thousands on RVs, boats, and power sports all under one roof. February 26th through 28th at the Fort Wayne Coliseum. Finally, an RV show at the Coliseum. The all-new All-American Outdoor Expo is back with the best deals on the latest camper, fifth wheels, motor coaches, and more, all under one roof in a clean, safe, and fun environment. February 26th through 28th at the Fort Wayne Coliseum. The first show of the year is here. The all-new All-American Outdoor Expo is a go, with everything outdoors on sale and on display in a safe, clean, and fun environment for the entire family. Visit FortWayneAllAmericanOutdoorExpo.com for tickets and details. Finally, a boat show at the Coliseum. The All-American Outdoor Expo is back with the best deals on the latest pontoons, fishing, and ski boats. There's nothing else like it in the tri-state area. Visit FortWayneAllAmericanOutdoorExpo.com for tickets and details.
Need a getaway in the wooded hills of beautiful Brown County, Indiana? Well, book one today with a cabin rental through Hills of Brown Vacation Rentals. From cozy one-bedroom cabins to luxury homes, pick out the cabin that is the perfect stay for you at browncountylogcabins.com. Seclusion in the woods, stunning views, hot tubs, and game rooms. Hills of Brown has them all. Winter cabin fever specials available. Feel a million miles away, but just a short drive to Brown County. browncountylogcabins.com. browncountylogcabins.com.
Now back to the High School Coaches Show on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back for the final time here on the High School Coaches Show. I'm Justin Kenny. He is John Graham producing here for about 9 more minutes. We'll give way to National Fox Sports Radio, and then we will have Brett Rump and Art Salzberg on at about 7:45 pregame show. The PFW Mastodons against Cleveland State in the first round of the Horizon League tournament. Tip-off at 8 o'clock. One of the games that I saw this week, one of the more exciting games of the year that I took in at the prep level was out at Baye Arena. It was Northside and Cherubusco. The Legends emerged with a 76-73 victory. It come from behind win late, and it clinched a winning season for the Legends at 12-9. Head coach of Northside is Gary Andrews. Joins us right now. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Not bad, Coach. And let's recap. You were down 6 with less than 2 minutes to go against Cherubusco on Tuesday. Got a big 5th foul on Landon Jordan to take him out of the game, but you still had to deal with Jackson Paul, who came alive throughout the entire game at 35, but really was trying to make things happen after Landon Jordan went out. So how were you guys able to fight back, pull it off, and what was another character-building win for this young team?
I think we were able to draw on past experience. I remember at one of the timeouts when we were down 6, I said, you know what? We were down 6 to Kokomo with about 3 minutes to go and came back and won. I go, we were down 4 with a minute to go to Leo and came back and won. So I think once you've done that, and, you know, our kids go, okay, we can just relax. Let's just play. Let's just keep playing. You know, we just got to hit some shots, get some stops on defense, and, you know, that's what we did. And, you know, give Cherubusco credit. Jackson Paul was unbelievable in that fourth quarter. It seemed like we kept fouling him. And, you know, Kay Johnson got Jordan's 4th foul, missed the second free throw, gets his own rebound, and gets a 3-point play and gets Jordan out of the game. And I thought that was big because he was just taking away everything inside. You know, he's so long and athletic, and getting him out of the game helped us. And our kids just kept their composure, you know, took the lead by 1. You know, they came out down, got a stop. Brayshawn Bassett hit some big free throws. I think that's something that was overlooked. We were 18 for 23 from the line, shot 78%, and, you know, that was really good. And, you know, I think they were 18 for 28, so I thought that was, you know, the big difference in the game. We shot a little bit better from the line. And, you know, they had one last attempt, and, you know, they missed a 3, and we found a way to win.
Yeah, and down the stretch especially, you guys were able to hit free throws in Cherubusco and miss some that kind of left the door open for you. You know, when you get down 6 late after a game where you led most of the game, there was some back and forth there in the second half, but the 6-point lead was the biggest for Cherubusco of the game. With your roster that's predominantly underclassmen, you can see guys just check out and say, you know, it's not our night, and they're ahead, it's over. You know, the growth of this team, you know, and you mentioned past experience growing on it, you know, that says a lot about the character of this group, being able to not give up, not, you know, get dejected, and instead, you know, stay focused, especially with the amount of fouls that were being called on both sides of the court, both ends of the court, teams dealing with foul trouble as well. I mean, all that adversity, your guys to be able to overcome that and get that win says a lot. It really does. And, you know, I've seen a lot more growth, you know, throughout the year. You know, early in the year when we did that, you know, I had to really sell it. Hey, just let's keep our composure and keep your composure. And it might take, you know, 5, 10, 15 seconds to get them to finally like, okay, we can do it. You know, and the other night, you know, we were getting some calls that really were going against us. And, you know, I wouldn't really agree with the calls. And, you know, our kids sometimes can lose their composure. And we've really had to work on that this year. That, hey, you know, officials are going to make bad calls. They're going to miss things. And, you know what, you got to just keep playing and keep your composure. I was really proud of our kids. They really did that. And, you know, they just kept fighting and kept playing. And, you know, we were able to come out ahead. We talk so much about your younger guys, but wanted to talk about one of your seniors. And he's not big on the box score, but Ronald Collins is a senior. He's been around this program when you guys were struggling the last couple years. He was on the football team as a quarterback, got displaced by Deuce Taylor, moved positions, didn't, you know, whine and complain or transfer. I mean, this kid has been locked in for Northside for 4 years, and he's finally, you know, he's reaping the benefits of it with success on the football team, getting the sectional championship game in the fall, and then you guys having a winning season. I mean, a lot of other kids would have checked out and left or quit or transferred. Yeah, Ronald Collins is still there. He's had a great attitude. You know, one thing we talk about, you know, we wanted to get a winning record for the seniors. And, I mean, you mentioned, you know, some people check out. You know, we predicted, I think we started with 6 seniors. We predicted there's going to be 3 or 4 quit because we knew with these young kids, they won't get to play as much as we have. We've had 3 seniors quit. You know, Ronald kept a great attitude. I can just see, you know, sometimes a smile on his face. And, you know, he said he's just happy on a winning team. You know, and he came in these last few, you know, 3 games and give us some really good minutes, you know. And it's hard to go from playing, you know, the last couple of years, you know, almost the whole game to now he plays 4 to 6 minutes. But he knows his role. He goes out, plays great defense. He had 3 assists against Cherubusco. You know, the Bishop Lourdes game, he had a lot of great passes, played great defense. You know, we know he's always going to play hard. He's going to, you know, guard one of the other team's better guards. You know, he's going to get loose balls. He's going to be tough. He's going to talk. And, you know, he's really matured, you know, a lot over the last 2 years, and he's a great kid. And, you know, I'm really excited for what he can do on the football field at St. Francis in the future. Coach, your team has won 8 of 9. You get a season finale 2.0. You guys added a game at Cass tomorrow night. What do you guys want to do? What do you want to see to continue this hot streak into the playoffs and potentially get another shot at Carroll next week? Well, the good thing about watching Lewis Cass today, they play defensively a lot like Carroll. They really try to clog the lanes. You know, they're going to try to want to play in the 40s and 50s a lot like what Carroll does. So they're not as good as Carroll, but, you know, they're still a solid team. They're 11 and 10. But so it's kind of, you know, we get a practice against a team that plays a similar style, and that's going to be good for us. And we want to just try to make it an up-tempo game. You know, that's where we're at our best. You know, we like to pressure the ball and, you know, try to force turnovers and use our athleticism. I mean, that's our strength. We're very athletic, and we like to use our strength and get the ball up and down the floor, and that's what we want to do tomorrow night. All right, buddy. Hey, appreciate the time. Thanks a lot. Congratulations on the winning season, particularly for that senior group. 12 and 9. We'll see you guys can add to that win total tomorrow night. We're hoping. All right, buddy. Take care. Okay, thanks. Bye. That was Coach Gary Andrews, Northside Legends, his team 12 and 9 after just 4 wins combined over the last 2 seasons. The Legends back on track. 5 of their top 6 scorers are underclassmen, so the future definitely bright off East State Street and in By-Hay Arena. That's going to do it for us. Thank you to Coach Gary Andrews of North. Thank you to Brice Vance of KPC Media Group. Thanks to Coach Matt Kostoff of the Bishop Dwenger Saints and John Bodey, Central Noble Cougars. That's it for us. We'll be back next Thursday to talk sectional basketball. For John Graham, I'm Justin Kenny. This has been the High School Coaches Show on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
Thanks for listening to this exclusive presentation of 1380 The Fan, the high school coaches show with Justin Kenny on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. Download the podcast at 1380thefan.com or wherever you get podcasts.
Podcasts by Federated Media. Podcasts by Federated Media.